Hello and welcome to the Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. This is Tough Girl Extra, when we go back and speak with previous guests. So today I'm delighted that we're going to be speaking to Anna McNuff. Anna is a British-born adventurer, motivational speaker, influencer and author. She's also the ambassador for Girl Guiding in the UK and was the co-founder of Adventure Queens. Anna gets her kicks by traveling the world, doing long human-powered journeys. And we've spoken to Anna twice before now. The first time we caught up with her after she'd run the full length of New Zealand, and the second time we spoke with her was after she'd done an incredible challenge cycling with Faye Shepherd down the full length of the Andes in South America. So super excited to catch up with Anna. She's going to be sharing more about a couple of her recent challenges from doing the coast to coast in New Zealand, and also sharing more about her next big adventure coming up, Barefoot Britain. Tribe, I am too excited. I don't even know how to introduce her, but we have got back the legend, the myth, that is Anna McNuff. Hi Anna, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm really good. I'm so excited to be back chatting to you.
Well, we were just saying, we were looking on our Skype contacts of when we last spoke, which was over a year ago. But we did first speak in June 2016 about your amazing run when you ran the full length of New Zealand. And then we caught up again in February 2018 when you've been biking across Europe and cycling the Andes with Faye Shepherd and driving across Canada. And now it's April 2019, and to be honest, I'm just so excited to hear about what you've been up to. But first, let's set the scene for our listeners. Where are you currently in the world? What are you doing? Fill us in.
I am. Do you know, I am so happy to be at home in Gloucestershire for the first time in 4 months, and it's just lovely to wake up in my own bed and just be back in Gloucestershire. I'm loving it.
Oh, that's amazing. Because you've been doing, I've been trying to keep track on you on social media, and every time I look, I'm suddenly like, hold on, she's in New Zealand. Oh wait, no, she's running in America. Oh no, she's back in New Zealand. No, she's in England. So, the past sort of 12 months have probably been like incredibly busy for you. But so the last time we spoke, you've been driving across Canada. What's been happening since then?
It has been, hands down, the most ridiculous year on the planet, and I'm exhausted. And I'm so lucky. On paper, it's amazing. I've been backwards and forwards to America 6 times to go and visit my vagabond other half, Jamie, who was doing a 5,500 mile run across the US. So it was 6 trips going to run marathons alongside him and keep the love alive. And in between that, I went backwards and forwards to New Zealand twice to take part in an adventure race out there, and then a couple of trips to Europe in between. So I just don't even know what weighs up, really. But it's been an amazing year, but I am so pleased to not be getting on a long haul flight for quite a while.
Absolutely. Jamie's done absolutely incredibly well. I can't even fathom that his achievement, like over 5,000 miles, which is incredible, like back-to-back marathons when did he start? He started in the summer, and did he finish like a couple of weeks ago?
He took a year, Sarah.
A year? Oh.
Yeah, he went April to April, basically. So we bombed it across Canada in our little camper van, and then I left him in Canada, and he went across the border and started last spring, and he'd been running for a year.
I just can't even imagine. It's absolutely incredible. But let's talk a little bit more about you and the adventures that you've been having. So you headed back to New Zealand. Tell us more about what you were up to in New Zealand and why you headed back and what you were doing over there.
Oh, it was so nice to go back, because I hadn't been back since I did the TRO run in 2015. And I always feel just there's this special place in my heart for New Zealand. And I teamed up with Kathmandu, which is a clothing brand, and they run the coast-to-coast adventure race out there, which I'd heard of loads of years ago, and it was originally started by a drunken vet, which is the best way that all adventure races begin. And then it was sponsored by a beer company for years, which was hilarious because you used to cross the finish line, then have to drink beer. But it's now been taken over by them, and it effectively is a 243-kilometre race across the South Island of New Zealand from one coast to the other. And it involves a fair bit of cycling, a run up and over a mountain, and a kayak down a river gorge, and then a little bit of cycling at the end as well. And hardened people do it in one day. They do all that 243 kilometres in one day. but I'm not that hard. So I did it over 2 days in a team with my friend Holly Woodhouse, who is an absolute machine and done it twice before. So she knew what she was doing. And it was just the most amazing adventure, and quite unusual for me as well to do something so short, and where something that I had to go really fast as well, because I don't really do fast. But I had to go fast.
Yeah, and obviously we know that you're an incredible cyclist from doing the Andes and a phenomenal runner from doing the length of New Zealand. But kayaking, was that a little bit outside your comfort zone, or how did you find that?
Oh my gosh, so left field, Sarah. Honestly, I mean, I thought, okay, I need to take this seriously when I signed up, because I think Kiwis are a bit mental anyway. And so when they say, oh, it's going to be a bit of a gnarly kayak, you think, okay, I should probably take this seriously. And it's only a grade 2 level kayak, and obviously like rapids go up to grade 5 or whatever, which I had to learn all this. I didn't really know. But it still does mean you have to be comfortable with being thrown around a bit and careering towards rocks, and knowing that it's okay because the power of the river is probably going to shoot you around that rock and it's going to be fine. And you also have to be comfortable with tipping out the boat in fast flowing water and stuff like that, which, bearing in mind, I have done zero kayaking ever in my life other than messing around on the river or in the sea on holidays. So that was the thing that we really focused on. I got in a kayak quite often with Holly, and that's why I went out to New Zealand early, really, was just to train with her on the river and learn how to kayak effectively. And my first session was just hilarious. We went out for an hour, and within 10 minutes I had a really sore wrist, and then I got tendonitis for 3 weeks, and I couldn't really move my arm, but I just kept going. And it was just like, oh great, how am I going to do a race? But it all worked out in the end.
It all worked out in the end. So so quite a few different challenges. So going a lot faster, it is a race as well, so there's that competitive element, having to learn to kayak, working with Holly as well. How well did you know Holly before you sort of joined up together? Was she a good friend, or just was she a social media friend?
It's funny, isn't it? We knew each other, and I would class her as a good friend. She's one of those people that we basically got set up on a friend date, on a blind date in London once by Challenge Sophie yep. Radcliffe. Sophie knew Holly and knew me, and said to Holly, I've got this mental British friend and she's nuts, I think you'd like her. And then she basically said the same thing to me about Holly. And so we met over a burrito in Hammersmith for dinner one night when Holly was living in London. And we got on really well. And then when I went to do the long run in New Zealand a few years ago, Holly was in Christchurch and she put me up. And there was just a connection formed. We only speak once every 6 months over Skype, but she's bonkers. I mean, she's done the Marathon des Sables, which you have as well, so that makes you bonkers. Excellent. She's done like the Jungle Ultra. She's skied across Greenland for a month. She is just a machine. And there was something about her that I know she's hard as nails, but she also has the most amazing laugh, and we just have so much fun. And she'd been badgering me saying, come and do Coast to Coast for a few years. And this year, with Jamie being away, and I kind of needed to go and I thought I wanted to spend winter somewhere a bit warmer. So I thought, what a great excuse to go over and live in New Zealand for a bit and do Coast to Coast.
Ticking so many boxes, which is awesome.
Exactly.
And I love it. So what was the biggest challenge? You're on this race, Coast to Coast New Zealand, 243 kilometres over 2 days. I mean, obviously a lot must have happened in that time frame, but what are the moments that stand out for you?
Okay, I'm going to fess up here. I was a complete tool on the first day of the race. Bearing in mind, I've been training for sort of 6 months of the year, done as much sessions as I can, got a bit stressed out about the fact that I'm a race ambassador and eyes are on me, and it feels like the whole world is watching when no one really cares. And Holly, because Holly's done it before, she was sort of taking charge on the support crew and all of the logistics and things like that, because it's quite a logistically difficult race, because there are a lot of transitions where you're getting off the bike and starting running, or you're finishing running and getting onto the water. And you have a support crew there to basically just treat you like a baby, to throw you in and out of clothing, to stuff food in your mouth, to give you fresh water, all that stuff. And so I really had just let Holly get on with it, and I'd taken a bit of a back seat. But evidently I'd taken a bit too much of a backseat, and we did the first 2 kilometre run, which is a run from the beach, beautiful beach in Hokitika on the west coast. And then we got onto the bike, and it's a 55 kilometre bike ride, and we started. I was like, okay, great. And it was at that point that I realised Holly's pretty fast on a bike, because we hadn't done much cycling together before, and because we focused on kayaking. And then we get 20 kilometers into the bike ride, and I'm thinking, this is quite a tough pace for me, because I think there's a big difference between going slow for long distances, which I'm absolutely fine at. I can keep going forever, but there's a lot of sprinting and trying to stay on the bunch and all that kind of stuff in coast to coast, because if you stay on the bunch, then you can conserve energy and it means you'll go faster overall. So there was a lot of that going on. And I started to think, oh, this is quite fast. And then it dawned on me, Anna, did you pack any food for this section of the bike ride? And I just realised I had completely forgotten to pack any food for what was effectively an hour and a half on the bike going quite fast. And just with about 20 kilometres to go on the bike ride, I didn't want to say anything to Holly because I thought if I tell her I've forgotten my food, I'm going to be in so much trouble. And I thought, well, we're in it now. But I just gradually started slipping into the pain cave. So I effectively came off that first bike with my energy levels well below zero, wobbling around like a weirdo. And Holly took one look at me when we got to the first transition and just said to the support crew, oh my gosh, McNuff needs food. Someone feed her. And I started a 34-kilometre mountain run with basically no energy, and I was in the pain cave. So that was the start of the race.
Oh, so tell us about your pain cave. What's your pain cave like?
Oh, it's a very dark place. It is basically, I'm sure you've all been there, also known as the Hurt Locker, many other things, where you I think you can start to feel yourself bonk, where you go a bit shaky and you think, oh God, I need to get some food into me soon. And then you go through that and you just go into this dark place where you can't even fathom how your body is still going. My legs were moving around, everything hurts, and you're just thinking, I'm really trying to go faster, but your body's not responding to anything you try and do to it. And then what happened once we started the run is I just thought, just keep moving. But it's quite a technical run. You're kind of scrambling across rivers and over boulders. And I just started to feel sick. And so I spent 2 hours basically trying to bring myself back. I'm shoving food down my mouth, going, come on, come back, please come back, please come back. And eventually, after 2 hours on this mountain run, I finally started to feel human. And at one point, Holly was quite concerned because she said to me, this she only told me this afterwards, but apparently I just started babbling nonsense. I started saying to her, I need to take my pack off. I need to take my backpack off. And she was saying, McNuff, what are you doing? And I was just wobbling around, completely just devoid of any sugars, and off on one about needing to strip off my backpack in the middle of this race, which was not helpful. But yeah, finally, when my energy levels came back and we were just about at the top of the path on the mountain run, and we sort of had an hour and a half, 2 hours to go after that. And it was just amazing to feel human again, really. So yeah, I was quite proud of myself to have kept going, but it's been a long time since I've been in that much pain, and it was completely self-inflicted, I would have to say. Most people doing coast to coast know what they're doing and they've thought about it. But yeah, it was a bit of a disastrous start, really.
But it's so interesting because actually it's simple little mistakes, like just forgetting to pack some food, and it can have these, quite serious consequences, really.
I know. What an idiot. It's so embarrassing. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing.
No, but it shows again, you are human. These things happen. But you're in the pain cave, you're in the Hurt Locker, you're in this dark place, you're starting to feel sick, you're trying to shovel the food down. I think we've all been there. Mentally, how do you keep going? Because I know you've got this phenomenal levels of endurance, and you've also got this incredible mental resilience and mental toughness, but what tips and tricks were you having to pull out of the bag to get to that place where you were like, okay, I'm feeling more human now and I can, really start getting back to normal?
Yeah, I think when you get to that place, you've just got to think about one step at a time. If you start to think, how on earth am I going to go for? Because I still had, the run is 6 hours, so I still had 5 hours to go in the middle of the Hurt Locker. But I think I just sort of kept thinking, just one step at a time, just one step at a time. And we've talked about the cheerleaders before, but they have to come out. They have to just be there going, come on, Anna, well done, just keep going, just keep going. But what I was battling with mostly was this just feeling of guilt, because I was part of this 2-woman team. And the last thing I wanted to do was hold Holly up. And there I was, just stumbling around. And I just kept apologising to Holly. I was like, I'm so sorry, Holly. And she just turned around at one point. She was like, McNuff, there are no sorries out here today. We are a team. I was like, okay. So I felt like I had to express to her, I'm sorry for making us go slower as a team. But once I'd said that, we just moved on. And it was just, that's the part of it. And it also made me feel better after the race that Holly said to me she did exactly the same thing on her first year. She completely messed it up because she didn't know what she was doing. And she said that it's quite common of a lot of first timers on the race that you get something wrong somewhere along the way. But yeah, I think it's just about taking it one step at a time. And that is my main mental tool, is just think one foot in front of the other. Here we go. And I mean, it is a beautiful run as well. You go in, you turn off the road, you go into this mountain valley, and there's no phone signal. You're completely cut off from the world. And yet, you just have to pop up and over that mountain, down the other side, and you'll be back in contact with it again. So it's called Goat Pass, and it is this perfect just little pocket of wilderness up and over this New Zealand valley, and it's amazing.
What was your biggest learning, apart from, around the food and the nutrition side of things and getting that right? But what was the biggest takeaway from doing an event like the Coast to Coast?
I think what I learned, and especially because Holly and I did a lot of training runs through the pass, and we would do it with people who were a lot faster than us, but we always made up time because Holly would pick a great line. Because the course is roughly marked and set, but actually you have a number of choices as you're going along the course, because effectively you're running in a riverbed and you're popping in and out of the bush to the sides of the riverbed, but you have to choose your line. And sometimes that means you're scrambling over boulders. Sometimes, you're going up and around the bank. And Holly knew from experience what lines were the best to take at certain places. And a lot of other people just blindly follow those in front of them. And we could make up quite a lot of time really by choosing to stick on a grassy bank rather than actually scrambling over boulders. You can make a lot of time up when you're running rather than having to kind of hobble along. So I think the thing I learned from that race, which I guess is quite similar to a lot of organised events, is if you've got the experience, then you're going to have a bit of an advantage, which, I mean, it was great for me to have Holly with me. So that's what I learned, yeah.
Love it. And how did you celebrate and reward yourself at the finish line once you completed the race?
Oh, well, on day one, so because it was a 2-day event, day 2 was actually amazing because it involved just a bike ride and a kayak and then another bike ride the other end. And because day 1 had gone so horrifically wrong, and I crossed the finish line on that day 1, I was so relieved. It was so nice to have all my parents had come out, Holly's family were all there, her boyfriend was there, everyone was cheering, going nuts. It's an amazing environment. And then you all camp at the finish line, so it's this sort of festival atmosphere, except everyone's in bed by 9:30, they're exhausted. And then it all starts again the next morning. But day 2, I was just buzzing. I just thought, there is no way that this day can be as bad as the last day. Therefore, this is going to be awesome. And it was. I mean, the kayak was the thing I was most nervous about. And it was just the most serene thing. 5 hours and you go into this gorge. Again, you're cut off from the world. There's no roads into the gorge. There's helicopters flying overhead and people dangling out of them, taking pictures. And there's a lot of safety people that have been flown in to be on the corners that might tip you out. But you're just surrounded by these huge granite cliffs, going through these lush gorges, and the water is the most amazing turquoise blue, and 6 hours of that, it was just heaven.
And I'm going to ask, like, logistically, so it's a bike, a kayak, and then a bike ride again. Are you having to carry the bikes and, like, on the kayak? I know that sounds stupid because that's probably not going to happen, but how do you get on? Do you use your bike, or are there just bikes there and you just hop on a bike?
No, they so this is where the support crew come in. So they are effectively your little worker bees, and when you get off the bike after the first, so you do a 1 cycle, and then you leave your bike with them, and they transfer your bike to the end of the kayak, so that when you get out of the kayak, your bike is there waiting for you. So this is why when Holly started telling me about the logistics, I was like, I need a diagram. What is going on here? And that's what's amazing about Coast to Coast. It becomes this very team-centric event, so it's not just about you and the person you're racing with, or even if you're doing it on your own, it's very much about your support crew as well, and they're such a huge part of the day. And it was such a hot day when we did it, so much so that people's bike tires were popping in the sun.
Oh my god.
So one of our support team, who used to be a mechanic for a cycling team and professional cycling team, he was instructed by his girlfriend, she's awesome, this very militant woman called Jax. he was instructed by her to stand over the back wheels of our bicycles with an umbrella to shade the tyres from the sun and stop them popping. So we've got this amazing picture of him with this Mary Poppins style umbrella protecting our little tyres.
Teamwork. It all adds up. So the other amazing thing you do, as well as being this incredible endurance athlete and adventurer, is that you are the most phenomenal writer, and I've loved reading your book. So you wrote The Panther Perspective, where, you know, your 3,000 kilometer journey through New Zealand. And then last year you shared about, your book got released, 50 Shades of the USA, one woman's 11,000 mile cycling adventure through every state of America, which I had the pleasure of reading while I was out on my cycling journey. So absolutely loved it.
Oh, thank you.
And honestly, they've actually been part of our Tough Girl Tribe book club as well. So we've read them as part of our book club. What's happening with the third installment? That sounds like a really grilling question then. What's happening with the third? When's the next book coming, Anna?
I've literally been writing it now. It's so tough to manage that. Well, cry me a river. My life is not tough, but it is so tough to manage the balance between, you know, you're spending 6 months of the year out of the country on adventure and doing all these things, but I need to sit my butt in a chair and write. And I can't believe it's now 2 years since I finished the Andes trip. And where has that time gone? But basically, I've written I'd say 90% of it, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to manage to get it completely finished and out before I start the Barefoot Britain adventure. So it will be coming out either towards the end of 2019 or in early 2020. Yeah.
And then there'll be more pressure to write another book about the next
Barefoot
adventure
Britain
challenge.
Yeah. And I've also been writing a kids adventure book. So that's coming out next year as well. So it's been all go.
Oh, God, I love it. So much inspiration in one place. But actually, you brought up an interesting thing. I'd love to discuss this with you more. You know, so 6 months of the year, you're out, you're traveling, you're living this life of adventure. You're out on the road. And then the other 6 months, you know, you're sat down, you're writing. But I'd love to talk to you a little bit about like the money side of things and what it's the realities of being like, the realities of living your life, because I think people can very easily get the wrong impression, and I know people do definitely about, you know, what I do and what other adventurers do as well, about what life is like. And I'd just love to hear your sort of perspective on that and balancing out the financial side with doing the adventures and how it all links together for you.
Yeah, that's such a good question, actually. And I've just actually finished. I'm going to be releasing a blog post on the realities of the last 6 years of my journey, because I think it's really important to be open and honest about the fact that it has been hustle. I mean, there have been times when, so I guess, long story short, my journey has been that I had a career in corporate marketing. And I decided to go freelance to give me more freedom to go on adventures. And originally, the plan was that I would do marketing for 6 months of the year, and then I would adventure for 6 months of the year. And I thought, great, I'll do that for the rest of my life. And then it quickly became apparent that every time I went back to do the marketing, it just wasn't where my passion lay. So then I just, over the last 6 years, I've dropped my marketing work down, and a year or so ago, I was finally able to let go. I was working 1 day a week doing marketing, and over the years, as I've done more adventures, the more I've earned from telling stories about them effectively has gone up, and then I've been able to drop the marketing work down. So it was kind of this 6-year battle between soul work and survival work. And it's quite a difficult journey because you feel fraudulent when you're doing that, because I don't think people talk about the fact that when you're trying to carve out your own career path or make what I call a jigsaw career, which is what we have, where you just build it yourself. I think the reality is you feel like a fraud in both roles. You know, I would sit in my marketing role and think, well, I'm not a marketeer because I don't really want to be here. I'm here for the money. You know, I'm here to survive so I can go on adventures. But yeah, I wanted to do a good job. And then I would give talks in my life as an adventurer and speak to loads of people and feel embarrassed that I did this office work on the side. So I really struggled with that for a while. And then I realised, you know what, that's fine. If you've got to do what you've got to do to make your dream work, then just get after it and do whatever works for you. And as long as you know what direction you're heading in, like it's all fine.
you know, I just think it's so fascinating because I know a lot of people will look at you and think, oh my God, well, it's easy for Anna. She's this overnight success and she just goes off and does these incredible challenges and writes books and talks about it. But actually, I find that fascinating, you know, 6 years and then gradually moving away from the freelance marketing down to like 1 day a week while you've been building up the jigsaw career, the portfolio career on the side. So I'm really excited about reading that blog post. So I cannot wait for that to come out.
No, it is fascinating, and I think one of the things as well, one of my biggest inspirations is Seth Godin, you know, the marketing guru, and one of his big things is stop waiting for permission to create, permission to be creative and put your art into the world. And that's exactly what I did with my books. I thought, do you know what, I'm sick of waiting, trying to find publishers. I'll just do it myself. Best decision I ever made to independently publish. So I think that's the biggest chunk of advice. And yeah, like you see, I think the main thing that doesn't get said as well is that you don't get paid to be an adventurer. You get paid through speaking or through writing. You know, you get paid when you find a way to bring value to the world through stories and helping other people effectively. So yeah, it's crazy life, but I love it.
I mean, it is absolutely amazing. I think the other challenging thing is I think sometimes people think it's easy to share and document on social media or to create the videos or to come up with an engaging talk and to stand up in a room full of, you know, a couple of hundred people and keep them enthralled. And actually, I know people who they start out doing, you know, going on an adventure and they want to start, you know, blogging about it. They get 3 or 4 days in and realize, hold on, they've just finished this long, tiring, tough day. The last thing that they want to do is to share a photo, write some commentary, or write these you know, especially when you're in South America. I mean, I used to love reading your Facebook updates. They were just these like mini adventure stories in one. But that's not easy to do after you've had a really long, tiring day to put that content out there. So, yeah, good for you. You're absolutely smashing it, and I'm so proud of you. So, yeah.
Thanks, you too. So I feel like we've been on this amazing journey for the last 2 years, both of us. It's just, it's awesome. 3 years now, crikey.
Time is going by. But Anna, I have to say, I am so excited. So, Barefoot Britain running 100 barefoot marathons to encourage young women to reach for the impossible. Obviously, you know, so, I mean, there's lots of things I'm passionate about in there, but, you know, motivating and encouraging, inspiring young women to reach for the impossible is incredible. But, okay, let's start at the beginning. Where did the seed get planted? How did you get this idea? You know, tell me about that spark of inspiration.
Well, it started when I was in New Zealand in 2015 doing that big run, and in the North Island especially, where there's a strong Maori influence, there are an awful lot of young kids that go to school barefoot. Until they're 11 years old, they just don't wear shoes. And so I would go into these schools and they would sing me the most amazing Maori songs, even the white kids as well. And they would be running around barefoot. And I just thought, how liberating. I was kind of jealous. And it just planted a little seed in my mind. And I'd also recently read Born to Run. So I'd become a bit more intrigued with the whole minimalist running movement and having less supported shoes when you go running. So I was a bit intrigued by that. So I started, after New Zealand, I started running in very minimal trainers. And I really liked the way it felt. You know, my feet felt like they could relax and spread out, and the structure of my muscles changed. You know, everything sort of tightened up, and I suffered with less injuries. And I thought, oh, there's something to this minimalist running malarkey. And so when I was thinking of a new adventure, I started thinking I'd quite like to do a barefoot run, just to experiment with whether my body and my feet especially are capable of devolving, especially, you know, can my body get back to the way it was supposed to be thousands of years ago after a lifetime in shoes. And then I started thinking I'd quite like to do it in Britain because I'd been made Girl Guiding Ambassador, and I wanted to talks is always a huge part of adventures for me because it's my way of giving back, because I'm terrible at fundraising. I hate it. It makes me wriggle in my skin to ask for money. So I just give through stories, basically. And those two ideas collided and just popped into my head. Barefoot Britain popped in one day as an idea. And so I was going to originally do 50 barefoot marathons, the distance of that. And I was talking to Jamie, my boyfriend, about it. And of course, he then said, yeah, that's great, Anna. It's like 100 sounds better, though, doesn't it? I looked at him and I just said, oh, it does, doesn't it? and that was it. I couldn't let it go, and it's been 2 years now. That was I had the idea 2 years ago, and I haven't been able to tell anyone, just because I just wanted to tell people when it was coming close, so that people can get excited about it, and we're leading straight into it. And I didn't want to bang on about it for ages before I was actually doing it. So I've just been secretly training barefoot for the last year and a half and running around the streets of London, having people look at me like I'm a weirdo.
How have you found the running barefoot, especially in London? Because I'm like, ew, dog poo.
Yeah, I know, dog poo, urine, vomit, glass, all of that. It's a mixture. In one way, it's really quite liberating, and what you realise as soon as you go barefoot, even if you go for a barefoot walk, you realise how much you don't notice about your environment. How much we just walk over every single day. It would be like putting gloves on your hands and then living your whole life with gloves on your hands. You think about the amount of sensations and all the things you wouldn't feel because you had gloves on your hands. Well, it's exactly the same thing in your feet. We've got 7,000 nerve endings in each sole, and you've got 26 bones in each foot, and they're not feeling most of the time. So when suddenly they're able to feel, there's all these different surfaces. I'm like, oh, I love pine spongy forest floor is amazing. Gravel canal track is horrific. The grass of the Yorkshire Dales feels wonderful under my feet. Mud is a bit tricky because you slide all over the place. So there's just all of these different sensations which I'd never had before, and that's what I love about adventures. Really, they give you new experiences. But I have to say, the most difficult part about the whole training is not the pain, not getting used to it, is the social anxiety of going for a run and having people look at you and go, "Ew, love, you forgot your shoes," or just like, "Where your shoes, love? Do you want some? Yeah, you're right." And it's just, I'm kind of semi-introverted, and I just want to go for a run and not have anyone chat to me, but everyone stares at you.
It must make you incredibly mindful when you are running, because you've got to be so conscientious of your foot placement, where you're running, how you're running. So I love the sound of that, and you've secretly been training, which is amazing. But tell me what the plan is for the next adventure. When's it starting? Tell us a little bit more about the flesh on the bones, and where you're starting, where you're going to finish, and what the goals are.
Yeah, so I'm starting on June the 2nd, way up in the north of the Shetland Islands, because I've never been to the Shetland Islands, and I thought, what a great excuse. And I also thought, I don't know how much love the Girl Guides get up in the Shetland Islands, so I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I get up there and visit them? So starting in the Shetland Islands, right up at the very tippy top, and then it is effectively a 5-month wiggle all the way through the country, down through Scotland, through the Midlands. I'm going actually across from Liverpool. I'm going around the Isle of Man, because again, never been to the Isle of Man. What a great excuse to go run around the Isle of Man. And I'm going to Belfast, down to Dublin, back across North Wales, and then through the Midlands and into Gloucestershire, a little bit of a wiggle around the southwest, and then along the south coast, a quick nip onto the Channel Islands, because again, Guernsey and Jersey need some love, and then back to London. The end.
And you're going to be stopping off and giving talks for girl guiding.
Yeah.
For girl, are they all sort of sorted now, or if anybody's listening who is a member of like a girl guides club and they can go check out your website and see the route, can they still sort of book in talks with you? Is that how it works, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I made the decision quite early on that I could not possibly manage all the logistics of this by myself. So I have recruited an amazing woman called Abby, who loves adventure. And she is handling all of the logistics of the talks. And there's probably going to be about 3 of them a week. But basically, if you email barefoot@annamcnuff.com, Abby is on the other end of that email address. So if you're a guiding unit, she's doing her best to try and work out how I can speak to the most number of girls in the amount of time I have when I'm running through. So she is organising that. So absolutely, there's a chance to book in for talks. And there are also 86 open running stages. So I've made the route public, and there's a sign up on the Barefoot Britain page of my website where you can sign up to run a stage with me. Of course, you can wear shoes. I'm not that crazy. So you can come and run as many miles alongside me as you'd like and have a chat. Because I'm kind of hoping it will get people out exploring their local trails as well.
Fantastic. And are you looking for accommodation while you're running? Are you wanting to be, do you need to be put up in places? You know, how would that work? Because you're coming to Liverpool, so I'm just like, oh, you can come and stay with me.
I am Liverpool, I am indeed. Yes, so that is the big lesson from New Zealand was don't really fancy running with a big backpack ever again. So this time what's happening is my main bag will be ferried around the country and along the route like a kind of baton from one person to the next. And so again, Abby is sorting me what we're calling Anna's Angels, which are people who are willing to host me for a night and help me get my bag from one place to the next, basically. So yeah, if you wanna volunteer to host me and feed me up for a night, I need all of that help as well. So it's going to be this kind of mobile community of people just passing me and my bag along down the country, and I'm giving talks along the way and running in between.
Oh my God, do you know what? I'm just so excited for you. It's such an incredible challenge. How are you feeling about it all? Because it is a big challenge, and you know your profile's risen a huge amount, because I think you did a campaign with like M&S and you're ambassador for Girl Guiding, which is incredible. Do you feel there's an extra sense of pressure now on you?
Oh, so much pressure, Sarah. But then I realise it's all self-inflicted, and I am really, really lucky that I've got Jamie, because he understands it. My boyfriend, I mean, he gets it. And I think I also, now this is my fourth adventure, my fourth big adventure. I also know that in the few months leading up to a big adventure like this, it's just uncomfortable. You know, there's just sleepless nights, there's anxiety, there's just fear sat next to you constantly the whole time, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't ignore it, you can't tackle it, you can't remove it. You just have to sit with your fear and just accept that that's part of it, and until you start, it will be there. And then once I start, I know I'll just take one day at a time. There are so many things that could go wrong. It's a complete unknown, and there is definitely a chance of failure, and I think that means it's the right challenge. You know, I am part way on that line between terrified and excited, and that's why it means it's the right challenge to take on, because that's when you grow, really. But yeah, the pressure. I mean, we're also, as if that's not enough, so I'm working with a production company, and we're making a documentary about the run. So there's all this filming schedule going on, and we've got backing from the AA Careers, their talent recruitment, as in the Automobile Association. They're backing the documentary for the run, so there's all of that pressure going on. So yeah, a lot of pressure, but it's just sink or swim, isn't it? And I'm not planning on sinking, so I will find a way to swim.
Oh, I love it. This is amazing. Best of luck with the challenge. And what I'll be doing is I'm making sure I put all of the links so that people can find out more about Barefoot Run Britain. Am I saying it right? Barefoot
Britain, yeah.
Barefoot Britain.
No,
Barefoot Britain.
Got it.
But Anna, I'm gonna shake things up a little bit now, because I've just got a number of like quick fire questions, and also I just want to be really nosy. So we'll love being nosy. So I think when I say like quick fire questions, I think normally I just speak quicker when I ask them. So don't feel as though you've just got to give like a one-word answer. But these are just a couple of things. So okay, quick fire round. Anna, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Oh, 10 o'clock. Shoot me.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. What time do you go to bed?
10:30.
10:30. Because do you know what I was honestly thinking? Do you know what I was expecting? I was expecting you to be like a 6 a.m. person, 7 a.m. person.
To get all those sunrise shots of people on Twitter, get them off my feed. Who are you? No, sunset all the way, baby. I love sleep.
Amazing. Okay, to 10 a.m. Brilliant. What do you eat for breakfast?
Normally eggs or crumpets.
Ooh, any particular way you do your eggs? Scrambled, fried, poached?
Oh yeah, poached.
Poached
with
eggs.
A runny yolk. Yeah.
Ooh, love it. Your favourite piece of kit?
Oh, I'd say a buff. Definitely a buff. You just need a buff for everything, for keeping your hair out your face, mosquito net, all of that.
What is your favourite app?
Oh, I have to say Komoot, which is a mapping app that I use to go on my little adventures, and you can take pictures of where you've drunk nice tea and had good pieces of cake.
Oh, I love it. I'm actually using Komoot for my next adventure up in Scotland. Yes.
Love it.
What book are you currently reading?
Oh, it's amazing. It's called What Doesn't Kill Us, and it's all about basically testing the limits of human endurance and ice swimming and high altitude and how far your body can actually go.
Right, that is definitely going on my reading list then. So what doesn't kill us?
If you've got a sick mind, it is just food for your sick mind. It's brilliant.
Are you a bath or shower person?
Oh, bath. Oh, with a fizzy bath bomb as well. Yay.
What is your diet? So are you like a pescatarian, a vegetarian, a vegan, a paleo, a junk food diet? I don't know.
I would say I am quasi pescatarian, because I eat a lot of fish, not much meat, a lot of protein. I blimmin' love vegetables, absolutely in love with broccoli, especially if it's roasted with a bit of olive oil on there. Oh, yes. So, but I also eat, I love chocolate. So in moderation, I do slip off the wagon and I have a glass of red wine every now and then.
And are you a particular type of chocolate? Are you Galaxy, Dairy Milk? Are you dark?
I can't do dark because it makes me wired. I know it's a good idea, but I'd say a good wodge of Galaxy. But actually, Galaxy, before they made the bars smaller, what are they doing to us? Unbelievable.
I just buy the big bars, the family size bars, and eat them.
Well, me too. Yeah, good on you. Excellent. The small ones just doesn't even fit in your hand. It's so small it disappears.
What is your most annoying habit?
Oh, I have a tendency to go forward at 100 miles an hour as if I'm a freight train, and unless someone steps in front of the freight train and says, hello, stop, or tries to make me change direction, I'll just keep going. I get a bit blinkered sometimes, and I think that's probably can be quite annoying, mostly to my boyfriend. So I've briefed him. I said, look, if you want me to change direction or you want me to consider something, you need to stop the freight train and tell me. I'm not going to get these subtle hints, malarkey.
I love it. I don't do subtle hints. Just tell me.
Tell me. Just stop the train.
What's your favourite song?
Oh, it's got to be Tina Turner. Simply the best.
Powerful. Your favourite movie?
That is really, really good question. I'm going to go for 10 Things I Hate About You with Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger.
Love that movie as well. Amazing. And final one, you'll be pleased to know. What is your? Actually, this might be two answers. So, do you have a mantra, or is that a phrase that you live by?
I mean, I always say at the end of my talks, we're on Tough Girl. I need to change this because it's not very feminist of me, but it's grab life by the balls and make magic happen. But I mean that in a sense of just grab life. I mean, take what is in front of you. Don't wait to be given it. Take what is yours and then make the magic happen.
Oh, that's such a perfect way to end the podcast. So, Anna, I will be making sure that I put all of your links to your website, annamcnuff.com, and all of the links to your social media so people can follow along with your incredible journey. Anna, as always, you are a phenomenal guest. And thank you so much for coming back on the Tough Girl podcast to share more about your incredible story.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You are my fave. Thank you, Sarah.
Hey Tribe, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Anna. Personally, I really, really love Tough Girl Extra episodes because I feel as though we're allowed to just dig that much deeper, and also we're able to follow along with the journey. So if you haven't listened to the previous episodes that I've done with Anna, please do go back and listen to them. It tells you more about her journey, how she got to where she is, the challenges she's faced and overcome, and what she's learned along the way. Anna's books are absolutely phenomenal as well. I've massively enjoyed reading them. The Pantser Perspective and also 50 Shades of the USA. So the Pantser Perspective is all about her run in New Zealand, and then 50 Shades of the USA is almost like the prequel. So it's about one of her first big challenges when she headed off to cycle 11,000 miles through all of the 50 states of the USA. So Anna's a total legend. Her website is annamcnuff.com. I'll also be putting all of the links to Anna's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media, etc. in the show notes, which is available at Tough Girl Challenges, and that's where you can find the links to the previous episodes that we've done. So what normally happens with Tough Girl Challenges and the Tough Girl podcast is new episodes come out every single Tuesday. But what I've been trying to do is to do Tough Girl Extra on a Thursday. All of the episodes do come out at 7 a.m. UK time. But what this allows me to do is to go back and speak with previous guests and just find out what they've been up to, and almost to follow along with their incredible journey. So, we've been keeping in contact with Anna now for the past sort of 3 years. And it's amazing to see the progress and the steps that she's taken, because I think a really key thing here is success nobody is an overnight success. It takes time and effort to build, and Anna has put in a huge amount of work to get to where she has now, and she's doing so incredibly well, as are the other female adventurers in the space. I'm just so proud of all the women out there who are just doing it. They are writing books, going on adventures, updating blog posts, keeping people updated via social media, starting podcasts, starting communities. And this is what's making a massive difference. It creates this ripple effect, and it's going to motivate and inspire other women and girls to get fit and active, to dream big, to travel, to explore, and to push their limits, and just to get out there and to live life to the fullest. I personally couldn't do what I'm doing without the support of my patrons, the patrons who support me financially every single month, donating $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, and up to $25 a month. It makes such a massive difference knowing that I have a regular source of income, and that actually I can pay the bills, and that actually I'm not going into debt for producing the content that I produce every single week, because it does take time, it takes effort, and I love it, and I'm so passionate about it. And I hope you love it as well, and I hope it inspires you and motivates you every time you listen to an episode. If it does, become a patron, sign up, go to Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast, but make sure you subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Have an awesome day wherever you are, whatever you are doing. Just get out there, have some fun, and live life to the fullest. All right, take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.